Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be all about the new Kevyn Aucoin Sculpt and Define Contour Book Volume 4. So if you're interested in all of my thoughts on this cheek palette, then keep watching. Okay, so this new cheek palette from Kevyn Aucoin, this is the Sculpt and Define Contour Book, and it is the fourth in its name. The fourth of a generation, the fourth generation of something. I don't know what's happening. It's the fourth one, is what I'm saying to you. I've never picked one of these up before. They've never massively appealed to me because they typically are kind of missing something. They just have never been quite as comprehensive as this one before. So they started off kind of just as like a contour and highlighting palette. And I don't mean a glowy highlighter, I mean like a lighter powders and cooler contour powders, a sculpt and define palette. And then over the years, with each iteration, they have kind of become a bit more comprehensive, and this one is the most comprehensive of all. Look at it, it's got everything you could need in there. So that's why this one kind of appealed to me more. I think also the packaging is more luxe and luxurious and just what I prefer when it comes to packaging. So that's why I kind of dove straight over the fence into Purchase Town on this occasion. So this will set you back £80 or $95 for 21.6 grams of product. So there are 8 pans, each are 2.7 grams for a total of 21.6 grams of product. To give you an idea of how much product that is, it's almost 3 times an Hourglass holiday palette. So these have 6 lots of 1.4 grams for a total of 8 grams of product in. So you are getting almost three times one of these in here. So amazing actual amount of product for your money. So let's have a little look inside, shall we? Gorgeous mirrored, very weighty, luxurious feeling packaging, and inside there we have 2 translucent powders in lace and silk, 2 contour powders in Bare and Sepia, 2 blushes in Azalea and Dahlia, and 2 highlighters in Stargaze and Golden Haze. And as per the brand, this is described as an exclusive selection of 8 multi-use shades in an all-new buttery soft formulation to create a glowing contoured face from one sleek compact. Sounds good. Formulated using wet powder technology and infused with nourishing oils and emollients, the versatile shades are exclusive to this palette and have been thoughtfully selected to create an all-in-one palette that can be used all over your face and sculpt your features to perfection. Talc and silicone free and vegan friendly, and the translucent powders are formulated to leave no white cast. Swatching these, they all feel super soft and buttery, exactly as described. They don't feel like creams. You know, that I was kind of afraid with the wet powder word. That scared me. I'll admit it, I'll hold my hands up. I was terrified, okay? They just feel like very silky, soft, smooth, gliding across the skin type of powders. So I was quite excited once I swatched these. They also don't seem to be overly pigmented. They're just the right amount. They don't feel like scary to use. It doesn't feel like I'm gonna have to really be careful and then I'm gonna end up looking like a horror show very quickly. They seem to have the sweet spot of pigment and just that gorgeous, silky, smooth, gliding feeling. I've swatched these a few times now and the palette still looks very nice. It looks very clean and tidy. There's not a huge mess of powder everywhere. So that's all bonus points in my book. I really like the packaging. It stands up by itself, so if you wanted to use this lovely big luxurious mirror, it's perfect for that. It has a lot of weight to it, feels very luxurious, it looks very luxurious, and it's easy to open. So it can be done. Nars, I'm looking at you. Just one quick note, if you're looking to save some money, I got 20% off this palette with this code, which comes from my friend Lauren over on Instagram. So if you want to pick this palette up, once you finish watching this video, use this code and that will get you 20% off, which makes it, I actually think, an amazing price point for the amount of product and how comprehensive it is, that you've got an entire face of makeup in there. That's what I like to see. I want value for money, bang for buck. That's what I like to see. But let's dive into the demo and see this palette in action on my face and my eyes. Okay, let's go. So I thought today I would try this both on the face as intended and also on the eyes, because this is such a comprehensive palette, and if you can travel with this and it be all encompassing and do your entire face with it, then all the better and all the more value for money. So I thought I would give it a try on the eyes and see what we can do with it. I'm using my big fluffy Sonia G brush from the holiday collection, and I'm going to do a tiny little bloop into that cooler contour powder, and I'm just going to do a very minimal shadow look, because obviously for eyeshadow there isn't a huge number of options in here because it is a cheap palette, but if we can use it on the eyes, we will. Especially at £80, you know? Better do my entire face, bod, dress me and make me breakfast. It's really the least it could do. I feel like it's potentially taking a little more elbow grease to just blend nicely as an eyeshadow, but you know, formulas are different when they're created, especially for the eyes or especially for the cheeks, so I can't really hold that against it. I'm just using the deeper, warmer contour shade now, and I just did a tiny light little touch in there. Don't want to make this too much. Again, that's going to work perfectly as a transitional shade for me. Again, it's kind of taking slightly more elbow grease to blend than something like maybe the Natasha Denona shape like mattes, but not problematic at all. Nice and soft and buildable, and this is boding well for the cheeks as well, because I thought this deeper shade especially might be a bit scary to use for me on the cheeks, on my skin tone. That's ideal little combo to sculpt the eyes as much as the face. Okay, and then I'm going to use the more gold highlighting shade on my Sonia G T2. Of course, any sort of pretty shimmery shade is going to be gorgeous on the eyes. And these highlighting powders do look so smooth, so I'm excited for them on the cheeks. And then for the inner corner, I'm going to go in with that same brush and the lighter shade. It's picking up very softly, these highlighters, which bodes well for them as highlighters. They're not so very powdery, they're not picking up a lot of product, so I'm excited. I think these will be nice and subtle. I'm gonna have to turn my fan off because my eyes want to water, and that's frankly the last thing I need right now. So for me, this is an absolute pass as far as using on the eyes. This is such a pretty look, no problems. You know, the mattes maybe took a little bit of extra time to blend, but they did blend beautifully, and I think this look I'm absolutely happy with. This is something I would wear every day, so yes, they passed being able to use them on the eyes, which is great. So I'm just gonna apply my concealer now. I haven't done that yet because I wanted to try out the powders. I'm not expecting to love these under the eyes. I'm very fussy about under eye powder. You know, I'm 40 years old, not every powder is gonna do me many favors under there. In fact, most powders will come for my life. So I'm not expecting to love it, but you know, don't try, you don't know. So got to take one for the team. So I think the lighter shade will be too light for me, so I'm going to use this shade under the eyes, and this is my Sonia G Worker L brush. I might tap that off. Okay, so it's still quite light, that other shade. You can see how brightening that is. Definitely has quite a bit of luminosity in that powder as well, which I don't typically like under the eyes. but it does look very smooth. So I don't think I could necessarily use this all over the face because it's quite brightening. Like I think it would brighten my foundation too much. Definitely quite a bit of luminosity to that powder. I don't love the powders. I feel like I'm looking really close up and I don't know how well you'll be able to see this on camera, so you may have to just slightly take my word for it. But it's just not flattering my under eye area. It's not terrible at all. I don't feel like my under eye suddenly is, you know, really creasy or looks very aged. It feels lovely and light, very soft, very light, and it actually almost feels a little hydrated under there. Very brightening. It does have quite a luminous finish. It's a little light as well for what I usually go for under my eyes, but I just think because of that luminosity, it's just showing up the sort of texture that I have under my eyes a bit more than the powders that I typically use, like the Pat McGrath powder or the Givenchy powder. Those being more matte, I find that they're a little more smoothing under my eyes, so I don't think that's going to be my favourite. So moving on to the contours, I'm going to go tread very lightly. What I kind of plan to do is to use the really cool shade very lightly and strategically in my contour areas. You can see where my natural contour is there, and then I'm going to use the deeper one as more of a bronzer because that's reading a little warmer for me. I'm really scared. I don't typically use contour powders. I don't contour very often at all. If I do, I use a cream because it's the one cream product that I find easier because you can just paint it on, and I feel I'm very likely to take this product like too fast in one direction or another. So I'm using my Sonia G Fan L, which I'm hoping is going to help me not make too much of a hash of this. But you know, as usual, I'm trying to test whether this is idiot proof or not, because this is not something I do very often that I'm good at. So if I can half pull it off, then you definitely can. So I'm just going to lightly go around my forehead, on the sides with this powder, and then I'm going to blend the deeper shade into. I'm trying to stay very precise with it, but that's, again, it's not something I'm that good at. So, but the shade of that is perfect, very naturally mimicking the natural shadow that I already have on my cheek there, like the perfect shade. It's nice and soft and light as well, very natural. Already the sculpting has begun. Beautiful, very natural and soft, and very easy to keep it soft, even though I am typically very heavy-handed. So I don't know how this is going to go because this shade is also a sculpting shade, but to me it's quite a bit warmer. So I'm going to try and use it very lightly as more of a bronzer with my Sonia G Face Pro. And again, I'm just going to touch the brush and tap. Oh, and we're going to see how this goes. I think shade-wise, this is fine as a bronzer. Yeah. It's a little deep for me, a little rich for me, which isn't a bad thing because we want as many people as possible to be able to use this palette. So it should be like too dark for me because this is the deeper of the two shades. But I definitely feel like I can use that as a bronzer if I'm careful, for sure. It's easy to use these nice and lightly as well. I was actually quite scared when I was applying it because it looks so deep. But they are beautifully soft and they're blending like a dream. The texture and the finish of these are gorgeous. So light and soft. Beautiful. Yeah, I think that worked beautifully, actually. That shade has that sort of reddish undertone that I really like in my bronzers. gorgeous. Really love those. Okay, so next let's move on to highlighters. I'm going to try the sort of more gold, and I'm going to keep it very light using my Sonia G Fan Pro. I feel this may be slightly deep for me. Not really. I could definitely make that work for sure. Blend that in a little. Can slightly see that from the front, so it's maybe a little too dark for my skin tone. Again, not a bad thing, because people with a deeper skin tone than mine would like to use this palette, so that's ideal. I'm going to use the lighter shade on this side. Yes, and that is melting into my skin tone much better. From the front, you can see this bit here, that's kind of the cast that that deeper highlighter is using. This one is creating, sorry, this is melting beautifully into my skin tone. This is definitely the shade for me, but again, you can see you can use that gorgeously, the deeper shade on my eyes, so you know, you can use the whole palette. I'd say probably between like fair to certainly like tanned and the lighter end of deep. You'll be able to use, I'd say, most of the products in here, apart from these powders I think are going to be too light unless you want a really highlighting effect, and we'll see about the blushes in a moment. But it's great that we can use the highlighters and the contour shades on our eyes as well, because if you have a very fair skin tone, you probably aren't going to want to use the deeper contour or the deeper highlighter, but you could use them on your eyes. As always, as and when I find some reviews on someone with a much deeper skin tone than mine using this palette, I will link them down below once I find some. And so you can see how people with a deeper skin tone can use this and how it looks on someone with a much deeper skin tone than mine, and whether it might be worth it for you or not. I will try and find some for you. So far, I'm thinking this looks gorgeous. So onto the blushes. Let's start off with this peachy shade here. These I'm a lot less scared of. I'm using my Sonia G Cheek, Classic Cheek. These are matte blushes. Oh, that is gorgeous. It's that sort of soft, neutral peach. It's literally my absolute favourite type of blush shade. So pretty. Oh, I love that blush. And then we'll try this sort of softer, like rose pink shade. Again, soft formulas that you can build up. This one's definitely a bit more pigmented. You can see there, a lot more vibrant. So again, something that would be much better for a deeper skin tone, and you can build that up. Definitely some buildable shades in here. So I think this would be actually a lot more versatile than I maybe expected it to be across skin tones. I still feel like we could have done with a lighter and a deeper option, so that everything in the palette can really suit your skin tone rather than having to sort of make some things work. So the pink blush and then the peachy blush. Let me put some mascara on so we can have a look at the finished result without my naked bold eyelashes distracting you. Okay, so mascara on. This is the finished makeup look for today, and I'm loving it. I think this is so beautiful. It's very natural, very soft. Everything is blended like a dream. And I think the overall effect is so pretty and soft and flattering. I'm not even really minding the glowing under eye situation. I think it actually is quite pretty. It's not going to be something I would do every day. That's either something that you like to do your makeup that way or you don't. And I do prefer a more matte under eye, but the rest is gorgeous. I think so pretty and smooth and soft, and everything blend together so beautifully. I love the finished effect. Gorgeous. Pink side, peachy side. Okay, so this first sort of tentative toe dip back into the Kevyn Aucoin pond, so to speak, was highly successful, I think. I am really happy with everything. I love how easy it was to use, both on the eyes and the cheeks. I was very afraid of contouring on camera. I don't really contour very often, especially not with powders, but I love how everything turned out. And I think it's super beautiful, very easy to use. I love the packaging, the palette itself, and everything in here, and how versatile it all is, and how much of it I was able to get, you know, a good amount of use out of. Very user-friendly, very idiot-friendly, very beginner-friendly, because everything is just laid out for you with where it goes, what you do with it, and it's just very easy to work with. So I'm very impressed. I love the formulas. Very soft, nice and buildable, not too powdery, not too pigmented that they're overwhelming or daunting to use, or you have to do a lot of work to blend them out. I felt like it was just perfect, really pretty, soft, natural finish formulas with a gorgeous end result. So I'm really happy with this. I really enjoyed using it today, and I think actually the value for money is really there with the amount of product that you get and how comprehensive it is, because you've got an entire face and eyes in one. So the price point kind of makes sense to me, you know, and a decent amount of product as well. So as always, I will keep using this and trying this out throughout the rest of the month and let you know any updates or developments in my July roundup. But please let me know if you've tried this. Are you interested in this? Is this a sort of product that appeals to you or not really? What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comment section down below. But thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. And I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.